While we live in a society held up by laws and a judicial system, sometimes it can seem like the system either doesn't work quickly enough or at all. As a result, there have been numerous times when ordinary people have taken the law into their own hands. From dealing with child molesters to taking on townwide corruption, these people took justice into their own hands and got results. Sex attack beatdown. Sometimes it just isn't possible to wait for police, let alone call them. An unnamed woman in Sheffield, England found that out in November 2015 when a man who had been following her suddenly attacked her. 35-year-old Jonathan Holmes probably thought he had an easy target with a lone girl, but he couldn't have been more wrong. Holmes was repeatedly punched and bitten by his intended victim, who also stabbed him with her keys. In the end, Holmes was arrested, and his mugshot is clear proof that he messed with the wrong person that night. Angry dad. Sometimes we may feel like the courts let us down. Kenneth Faulkner certainly felt this way when Thomas Williams was handed a 3-year suspended sentence for soliciting sex from Faulkner's 2 younger daughters. Hours after the verdict was read, Faulkner decided to pay the accused a visit. According to the angry father, things went bad when Williams allegedly winked and smiled. The response came in the form of a series of blows that left Williams in a bloody heap. Despite police arriving and arresting Faulkner for assault, the public voiced its support for the father of 2. Kamikaze justice. In June 1972, Martin McNally hijacked a plane and demanded ransom money. As the plane sat on a St. Louis runway, David Hanley watched the events unfold on a TV in a nearby hotel bar. Angry at the situation, Hanley decided to do his best Bruce Willis impersonation. He hopped in his Cadillac, drove it through the airport fence, and smashed it into the landing gear of the hijacked jet. It was a brave act that would have worked like a charm in the movies, but Hanley ended up hospitalized, and McNally simply hopped off and hijacked another jet instead. However, obviously shaken up, he parachuted out mid-flight and was arrested 2 days later. Community action. Sometimes it can feel like your town council and police force aren't really up to the job with allegations of corruption, drug dealing, and bribery. While this may sound extreme for your community, the people of Tierra Colorada, Mexico believe their leaders unfit. The solution? They formed a vigilante squad and took over the town. Officials and police officers deemed corrupt were arrested by the 1,500-strong group and turned over to the state prosecutor, who agreed to investigate their claims. The Lavender Panthers. You've likely heard of the Black Panthers, but the Lavender Panthers? In the early 1970s, while everyone was focused on the civil rights movement, the rights of the gay population were overlooked and police couldn't always be counted on for help. Reverend Ray Brashears looked to fix this by forming a vigilante squad that dealt harsh justice to anyone who threatened homosexuals on the streets of San Francisco. Don't be fooled by the name. The Lavender Panthers often dealt out their justice with pool cues, bats, and clubs. The Subway Vigilante. In 1981, Bernard Goetz was assaulted in a New York subway, but his attackers were not prosecuted. Let down by the justice system, Goetz vowed to never let it happen again. In 1984, he was confronted by 4 teenagers, again on a New York subway, demanding his money. Refusing to be mugged, he pulled out a gun and shot all 4, paralyzing one. His actions were supported by many New Yorkers, and although a civil court awarded $43 million to the teen he paralyzed, a criminal court only gave Goetz a short sentence for illegal firearms possession. The Pothole Hero. As one vigilante artist discovered, when city councils won't act to fill dangerous and damaging potholes, you can always force their hand with some crude artwork. Known only as Wanksy, this Englishman decided that the best way to get the potholes in Greater Manchester filled was to highlight their presence with large spray-painted penises. Magically, potholes that hadn't been filled for months were repaired within days once they received the phallic treatment. The Ex-Cop. What would you do if you found out your good friend had molested your daughter? If you're Lori Palmer, you drive the suspect out to the middle of a forest, strip them down in the cold, and force a confession out of them. When Scott Phillips confessed to the crime, Palmer, a retired police officer herself, drove him to the police station where he was promptly arrested. While Phillips was sentenced to 4 years in jail, Palmer ended up with 1 year of probation. I Will Find You. In 1982, Andrei Bamberski's daughter was found dead in Germany. He suspected that her stepfather, Dieter Krombach, had a role in it, but German investigators didn't pursue any charges. Bamberski, living in France, managed to get Krombach tried and found guilty in absentia, but without the murderer in person, justice still wasn't served. How was the problem resolved? Bamberski had Krombach kidnapped and smuggled across the border, where French police found him and arrested him. Bamberski was later arrested for his role in the kidnapping, but was handed only a suspended sentence for his brave act of payback. We hope you enjoyed these incredible stories of some brave individuals. Tell us what you thought of this video in the comments, and please don't forget to check out The Richest Daily for more amazing videos. Thanks for watching.